Filmmaking gear can greatly impact the way a story is told. From the choice of camera to the type of lens, each piece of equipment can alter the mood, tone, and overall quality of the film. In this video, we'll explore how different types of gear will affect your story. Down in the hole. Different cameras can create different visual effects, which can convey a specific message to your audience. And I love when cameras are very versatile, where you can use them in different circumstances. Say for instance using a C70, which is a cinema camera. Something great to use handheld when filming or throwing it on a gimbal. But sometimes cameras like that can be a little too clunky to get the right shot or the right perspective. Using that word perspective, GoPros are really cool for that. And they're so small and nimble, you can toss these things around. So you can give the perspective of the character. You can wear it on a chest mount, giving the perspective of what your character is doing. Or you can even be creative. You can mount the camera onto, say, a skateboard, getting a really interesting shot, where you couldn't get with, say, a giant cinema camera. There's this saying that the best camera is the one that you have with you. And everyone has an iPhone. I find that iPhones are very versatile as well. Whether it's a run and gun vlog or up to a actual cinematic film, people have shot with iPhones. The point is, what's the best camera to fit the right situation that you want to film? I'm sure you wouldn't want to have your C70 in the ocean. I love you, Eric. Speaking of cameras,
I'm sorry, baby, I don't mean to be rude.
One of the most important parts of the camera is the lens. One thing I didn't realize early on in my career as a filmmaker is how integral, whatever the word is, just the importance of knowing how the focal length affects the image that you're shooting. A wide to ultra wide lens is usually meant to give as much of the background in frame around whatever subject you are shooting. Wide angle shots are usually used to help give the viewer the perspective of where the story takes place. Medium shots are really good to help the viewer understand what the character or subject is doing. Also helps the viewer feel a little more closer to the subject, whether it's the person or object or whatever it is. In most cases, the medium shot is kind of how we naturally perceive the world in regards to distance. Tight shots are really interesting. They can be used to really help bring the viewer to focus on something that you're trying to tell in your story. Okay, I'm gonna do a couple little examples from wide angle all the way to telephoto of how the compression affects the background and the subject. As far as the subject, there's a couple things we want to think about. How's the face ratio compared to the head ratio? On a wide shot, the face would look bigger, but the head itself will kind of form around the face. And notice how on the back, there's a lot going on in the background. With a wide angle, you'll get this weird bowing effect. Like how my hands are huge. All right, I'm gonna change lenses, then we're gonna go to 50 millimeters to see what it looks like at a medium shot. At 50 millimeters, 4 to 5 feet away, see how the background looks a lot closer to me and how my face is more proportionate, where my face isn't too big or too small in comparison to the shape of my head. I'll explain more with a telephoto. Roughly around the same size as I was before, and notice how my face is a little smaller in comparison to the shape of my head. Because the background is moving closer, that's that compression, which means that everything from the front and the back is more squished together. Which is why in certain situations in a telephoto, my head is a little bigger than my face. It's a little weird. It's something to keep a note when you're filming, especially a person. Everything in the background is much closer. You can barely tell what anything is going on in the background. The main focus is me, the subject. Just giving some examples of what everything looks like. All right, back to the rest of this. This was fun.
Calm down before you stress up the groove. The energy a little different when the blessings.
Next up, angles. Angles are very important because they can either make someone seem larger than life, a little bit more intimidating or powerful, or having an angle like a high angle can make the subject seem smaller, inferior, or weaker, or sadder. Did I do anything? I don't know. But it's not just expressing sad or happy. Humans are complex, we have many emotions. So to portray another kind of emotion, you see some angles can give the sense of uneasiness or the fact that something is wrong. It's giving you a message that something is just not right. Well, the angle is called the Dutch angle. That's what this is. It's like not horizontal, it's just tilted sideways. You get the point.
Let's go.
If you don't don't have the budget to use actual video lights, because they can be expensive, the best free option you have is natural window light. But the hard part about natural sunlight is you have to work with it. What I mean by that is sunlight can be very harsh on your face. Direct harsh sunlight or any harsh light is not very flattering to your face. It blows out the highlight. So what you would want to do, maybe use a sheer of a curtain. For example, this is what it looks like with direct sunlight, like morning light. And if you were to put a sheer curtain in front of your face, see how much softer that looks? It looks so much more appealing to look at. Honestly, much better for dynamic range purposes, and color grading will be much more pleasing in the edits.
All right, I know what you're probably thinking. This video is going on a bit too long, so let's speed it up, shall we? Some of the most common lighting setups. Go. When there's a little triangle of a light on one side of the cheek, that is Rembrandt lighting. Top-down lighting is really dramatic and moody. And speaking of moody, short lighting, when the light is hitting from the furthest point from you. I don't know what this is called, but I really like it, and if I find it, I'll put it on the screen. Sometimes lighting's not just about the lighting itself, but the negative part of lighting, adding negative fill, which means adding shadow and shape back to the subject. Say you're using Rembrandt lighting. Adding a hair light will help separate your subject from the background. Highlighting the shoulder and, well, the hair. That's pretty much why it's called hair light. And notice how using the same shot, but adding negative fill, adds a little bit more dynamic to the shot. And ending off with one of my favorite shots, the silhouette light, where the light is on the opposite end of the camera. I think I got all of it. Now, when it comes to the audio, it can really enhance and enrich the feelings, mood, tone, and emotion that you really want to have in the moment. Sound design can help a person understand where they are. So for all this to make sense, let's go into an example. We're gonna do a little bit of an edit ourselves to really get an understanding of how impactful sound design is in a video. I'm gonna put together a few little clips of Chicago with some sound design and without, so you'll see the difference in how you're able to receive the context of the city. I think I explained that okay. All right, here we go. All right, so this is what it would sound like with just music. All right, it could work. It could work for a short little YouTube video, but if you want to dig a little deeper and have more depth to this, you can mess around with some sound design. All the sound effects are added. This is what it sounds like. I know this is like a quick edit, but to me this is more engaging. It gives you more of a sense of a feel of the city and the environment that you're in. From the sky level down to the street level, seeing the cars and the train, there's more substance there and it's more to draw attention to. But I want to give you guys a quick tip, one that I wish I had when I started. And this is not sponsored whatsoever, this is literally genuine, I want to help you guys out. Let's talk about Artlist. Artlist is actually one of the best one-stop shops for literally everything. From music, sound effects, video files, even up to raw footage, video templates, plugins, and they even give you apps like full-on video editing software. Actually good video editing software. And you can get all of them together in a bundle with Artlist Max. But I'm not here just to tell you about it, I have a discount code in the description below. It'll give you 2 months for free with the annual subscription. It's just a really good thing. I love it. But when it comes down to it, ultimately, understanding how each tool affects the story and making intentional choices along the way is key for making an immersive experience for your audience. So, long story short, by now you understand how storytelling can improve your videos and how gear affects that storytelling. I guess at this point, the next one's to learn about how to edit together a story. Now that's gonna be fun.
I don't need no more good reasons to leave the seasons. This breezes Jesus. The siege is about as cool as my t-shirt. This chick is old school like Shelter with Adidas. She feed me shellfish, I need it. Since I don't eat beef or chicken, pork always bleeding. Y'all had it.